that I haven't been on in a while. I got a new job, so I've been transitioning with that. I think I left off beginning at preteen, but I just wanted to say something real fast. I just wanted to say, since I saw The Medium, February 15th, it's been 10 days now. My everything has improved greatly. My mental state, my everything. I just feel a lot more optimistic about a lot of things. I just really feel physically lighter. It's really the best way to describe that. So I definitely recommend a healing medium if you're having trouble grieving or letting go or dealing with the death of someone. But definitely look into it before you do it. Make sure it's a legitimate medium, because there's a lot of fakes out there. So preteen, that's like 11 to 15. I have like two brackets in the preteen section, and it's pretty much 7th and 8th grade. So I have a girl's name here, and I don't want to give away anyone's names just because, although I choose to be public about my life and the details of it, the other people who are involved may not. So I just don't want to deal with any shit from anybody, so yeah. This girl's name started with the M, so I'll call her M. Until this point, I hadn't really had like a best friend. I hadn't really had like a friend out of the rest of my friends that I was closer with or had a deeper connection with. I just kind of had friends. But this is like 7th grade, so that's to me really when I began to blossom into a more social being. And I met Em, and I forget how we became friends, but she just had a personality that was out there, and that's pretty much how I am. So it, drug me towards her. And I'll never forget the very first time. Em is the person/outlet that introduced me into the world of self-harm. Cutting, to be exact. That was my poison of choice. Other people like burn themselves and stuff like that. I really only strictly cut myself. And she showed me her wrist one day, and it was just filled with slashes. And I'll never forget the feeling that I had in my gut when I saw it, because I'm the type of person that wants to heal everybody, wants to take everybody's bad shit away and make it all good, even though I really need to be working on my own stuff. That's just how I am. So it really did hurt me that she did that, because they were deep. So I would look at them and I would just be like, oh my god, like that must fucking hurt, like so bad. And I can't remember the first time I cut myself. I can't remember, but in the beginning, when I did it, it was more out of anger, kind of like it is now. Like, I really don't cut myself, but if I do, it's only because I'm so angry that it's like my body's taking over. Like, I don't make the conscious decision to cut myself. It's just kind of an out of anger thing, and that's how it was in the beginning. And then it just became something I did anytime something bothered me. And I would do it daily, like for a really long time. And I was open about it at first because I did it like on my arms, like down here and stuff like that you could see. And I would wear short sleeve shirts and stuff. So someone told the guidance counselor at school, and I'll never forget this. I was fucking terrified. They called my parents and told them. I lied to the guidance counselor and told her I didn't cut myself, obviously, because who the fuck wants to sit down and talk to the guidance counselor? So I got home and I was sweating, waiting for my parents to get home. I think that was one of my earliest memories of an anxiety sweat, because when I get anxious, my armpits sweat like a different kind of sweat. It's just crazy. So I remember that, and I remember my mom coming home the door saying like, that shit your guidance counselor is telling me like better not be true. And my parents weren't really, like, they didn't catch on to the signs of stuff, but they didn't really grow up like my grandmom was depressed, but she didn't like cut herself and stuff like that. So like I was not given my parents signs. But then when someone told my guidance counselor and they confronted me about it, I was terrified that they were gonna ask me to pull my sleeve up, and they didn't. It's really dark. I didn't pull the sleeve up. But that's when I started doing it on my leg, because I realized how less easier it was to get caught. And that's when I realized I wasn't doing it as an attention thing, because the way she would broadcast it, and like later on, like years after I originally saw it and it made me feel sick, I realized that the way that she was doing it was for attention, because she would do it and she would come in and she would show everybody. Me, I wouldn't do that. I just kind of did it and I didn't tell anybody. It was just kind of like for me. So that was pretty much it. Between 7th and 8th grade, nothing too crazy. The only thing was that I was cutting myself. And that might seem really crazy to some people, but that's like nothing to me, really. That's like the beginning of it all. And then that's all I really have for middle school, and then is high school. But before I go into this high school stuff, because high school's where it goes downhill. A few days ago, I read this article and a synopsis of it basically, as it said that you fall in love with 3 people in your lifetime. The first person is normally like around high school, like your youth, and they just, fill your youth with everything you think love is supposed to be, and then this, but that doesn't work out. Then the second person is typically a relationship that is extremely hard. Like, it challenges your perception of love and like everything to do with it. And then that doesn't work out, obviously. Then the last person, the third person, is the person that you fall in love with that shows you all the things you didn't know about love, like changes the entire way you think about love. And I found that really interesting because I'm 21 in September, and I've been through all 3 of those, and I can name them, and it's crazy to me. It's amazing when I read articles and stuff like that of shit that other people go through. Like, oh, other people have also fell in love with 3 people and they fit this exact profile of a relationship. It's weird when you read shit like that. I don't know, but I thought it was interesting. I don't know. I just wanted to say that before I start in high school because I've pretty much since I was 15 always been with someone in a relationship, and that's important to note when I get into this high school section. So from 9th grade to 12th grade, I pretty much had one boyfriend. I'll just use a number one. I'll just use one for him because he was the first love for me. He got held back, so I was actually like super intimidated by him when I first met him. But then he turned out to be like a goofball, like the class clown. So we ended up being friends because, you know, I'm pretty funny. I am. So we started becoming friends, and I remember the very first second I even had the interest in him. He was flirting with one of my friends. We were in the same literature class. He was flirting with one of my friends, and I just remember being so jealous, and I didn't know why, because I'm like not that type. I'm not the type to be jealous like for no reason. I have to have something to be jealous about. And I was like, oh my god, like what the hell was that? So I told my other friend about it because I was really upset. I was really upset actually, like that he was flirting with her. I don't know why. But so then that friend told number one, and he came up to me and was like, oh, you know, little birdie told me something. And I was like, I don't know why she would tell you that. And then I just kind of walked away because it was awkward. Like, my crush was told that I was jealous that he was flirting with someone else, and he literally approached me with said case. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to say? So we start talking and we start dating on Christmas, I believe 2012. I believe 2012. It could be 2011, it could be 2012. I don't remember, it was years ago now. And we broke up and got back together a few times, but we were pretty much together for the entire 3.5 years of high school. Then January, I remember the date and it's really weird, kind of creepy, but January 5th of senior year, I remember I wasn't feeling what I had felt before. And love has always been important to me. And since I met him, I knew what love was because I was in love with him. But I knew that I just wasn't. So I went over to his house and I was like, you told me to tell you when I'm not happy anymore. I'm not happy anymore. He was really respectful. He gave me a hug and then went back inside, and that was that. So that was number one. Number two was very shortly after. I didn't physically cheat on number one with number two, but feelings were definitely present for number two while I was finishing my relationship, I guess, with number one. And number two was very different for me because I don't want to be personally judged on this because I don't share the same views, obviously, but also remain respectful because they're my parents and I love them no matter what. When I was going through high school and all that, they really didn't want me dating people who weren't white, basically, is the best way to put it. Anyone who wasn't white, really. Number two is Jamaican. So that was interesting. that made the entire number two situation why it ended up the way it did. There's a lot to say about number 2, so I'll probably just do another video on number 2, because there's a lot. A lot. Because it isn't even just number 2. Number 2 leads into senior year of high school, and that's a whole nother thing. So I'll just stop at number 1. Number 1 was great. We had our time, we had our fun, but shit happens, life goes on. We're both chilling now. We don't really talk that much. Every time I text him, he doesn't respond, but it's okay. He has a new girlfriend, and I know how females can be, so it's whatever. So, thanks for sticking around again. Till next time.